everyone, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel for another Swatch Ink with me ink deep dive video. Few things just to say quickly before we get started. I'm going to tell you what the ink color is at the very end. I have smaller measuring cups for around the side, which I'm super excited about. And last but not least, this is a bit of a funny one, but whether you can tell or not, this is a voiceover. Some videos I'm still doing, speaking and talking in the one thing, and others I'm going back and doing voiceovers. And I'd just love to know if you guys have a preference, or if, like, for example, if the voiceover you're finding really hard to hear, if one of them for you is significantly less enjoyable, please let me know, because I'm just still trying to find the right medium. Anyway, let's jump into the ink. So that is our first swatch in the middle. This is an ink that I've used recently and I really, really love. The other thing I find interesting about this ink is it can look really different depending on the paper that you use. And I know you can say that about almost any ink, but this one I think really, really does that. So as we've done before, if you want to have a guess, comment below. It's always great when you do it at like the timestamp so we can see as we move on if your guesses change or anything like that. But I really do enjoy this ink. In terms of the comparisons that we're going to have around the side, I actually only have 4 today. The other videos I've done 6, but I just wanted to see, what it would be like with 4, if that gave enough of a variety or not, or just testing it all out. And of course, I'm using a measuring cup for around the side now, so hopefully that gives us a little bit more of a, I was going to say realistic, but that's not the right word, a better comparison, because the way the ink's laying down should be similar to that swatch in the middle. So first up, just wait for my, and we're listing it. This is Birmingham Pen Company's Juniper. It's a really beautiful green on the darker side, but there's like almost hints of, I don't know what there is, but it's got a tinge of something. It's almost like there's a little bit of brown in it, maybe. Like, I don't want to say it's a cool green, but it's not a warm green either. I don't know if this is foresty. Maybe foresty for me is kind of deeper and darker, but in that swatch in the middle, I see greens coming through. I think you see them down that bottom right bit a little bit, and where it pulls a bit darker. So I wanted to include a on the darker side green to have as part of this comparison. And if you just follow, like if you kind of quickly dart your eyes between that Juniper swatch and then down that bottom of the swatch in the middle, I do think there's similarities there. So that is the first outside swatch we're going to do. Next up, I wanted to include a grey to kind of look at or highlight some of the cooler tones in that center swatch, but I didn't want to use a super dark grey because I don't think that's represented in the middle. So what I've gone with is Colour versus Matter. I think there is a relationship there, kind of those cooler tones, and as I said, the lighter versions of the grey. But I also then contradict myself later on, because I do end up including a darker grey, but that's a bit on the bluer side. So it's the ink in the middle. It's just really complex to me that I did spend quite a bit of time going, what am I trying to pull out here? What do I see? So I thought Colour versus Matter would be a good one to include. Matter is part of the set of Matter and Antimatter, and it's actually been pointed out on one of my videos before that a pretty good comparison between Matter and Antimatter is Pilot Iroshizuku's Kirisami and Fuyu Seogun, which I know I'm just ruining all the pronunciations, but if you have looked at those 2 inks and you like them, I would definitely recommend checking out Matter as well. I haven't tried Antimatter, but I would like to. Next up is a purple ink. That swatch in the middle to me reads a lot of purple. But interestingly, when I've written with the swatch, it leads a lot more dark grey. So, this is where I'm trying to find all the different colours. This swatch is Pen BBS Purple Jade. As I was swatching it, I actually wondered if this purple was maybe a little bit too cool. In the middle, when I look at it, I see purples and there's almost like a bit of brown and even like a bit of pink. So in hindsight, I wonder if I should have used a purple that is a little bit warmer, but I just found it really tricky to find the right color to try and highlight the purple and purple adjacent tones within that center swatch. We have one more small swatch to do, so if you haven't had a guess at what the middle is, I would love for you to have a go. So last swatch, I did say before that I was contradicting myself with wanting to use a light grey because that's what I thought was representative and blah blah blah. The last swatch is Robert Oster Thunderstorm. This is like a go-to grey for me, but I also think it's a good one to include because some of the bluey black that I see in the middle is in that swatch as well. That being said, even just as I'm doing this voiceover, as I look at the ones around the side, there's still colors missing. I just didn't, within my ink samples, I just didn't know what I could use to capture that purpley, grey, blue, whatever it is in the middle there. I'm thinking maybe like my pen friend sent me a sample of Diamine Vivaldi. I wonder if that would have been a good one to include maybe. Just seeing, I've just got my ink journal in front of me to see. Maybe, see, that's still quite purple as well. Maybe that's what I love so much about this middle color is it's actually really, it's like something I haven't seen before. It's also to me really interesting, oh, can't speak, that the swatch does seem a lot more purple than all of the writing that I've done with it. So they are the 4 samples around the side. So now we're going to go, this is your last chance to guess what's in the middle. That was an awful sentence. It's because I'm doing this voiceover at 8 o'clock in the morning and I've been up since 5, if you can't tell by the croakiness of my voice. So if you guessed a Sailor ink, you would be correct. And if you guessed Sailor Yoi, you would be double correct. That is what that ink in the middle is, Sailor Yoi. It's definitely been one of my favorites of late. As I said at the beginning, this ink just shows up so differently depending on the paper and pen combination you're using. I would definitely recommend looking at other people's channels who have swatched this ink. I know Leanne Lights has recently done a swatching of this, but from memory I can't remember if it's one of her really awesome single swatch reels on Instagram or in a video, or possibly even both. Her channel's worth looking at regardless, but her swatching of it I would definitely recommend looking at as well. Pardon me. I just think it's a really, really complex ink. I love that it goes down one color and kind of changes to another, especially when you write. I don't think you see that change as much in the swatch. That's just from my experience, but either way, I really, really like it. So just to wrap up, the inks I had around the side, up the top I had Birmingham Pen Company's Juniper, then we went to Colourverse Matter, down the bottom is a purple, we had Pen BBS Purple Jade, and finally I had Robert Oster Thunderstorm. I would love to know from you guys, first of all, if you guessed it, but also if you, looking at that center swatch of Yoi, do you have other colors that you think kind of have that relationship or similar aesthetic with it? Because I really wanted to do an ink deep dive into this one, but I did struggle finding colors that really truly matched is not really the right word, but spoke to or was in the same family as that center swatch. So I would love to know what you would have put around the side if you were doing an ink deep dive into this video. And I guess if you have Sailor Yoi sitting in a cart as an ink sample that you were thinking about, I would definitely go for it. I think it's a really great ink, and all the pens I've had it in, it's behaved really well. That's going to be it from me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to chat to you guys again soon. Bye.